ready for takeoff.
We are cleared for takeoff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the place where real dialogue matters.
Make some noise for that sound, man.
It is time to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Everett Hall-McNeill. This is Audio Airstrike. Appreciate you for joining us. We got another episode for y'all. With me at this time, he's a reoccurring guest, commentator, actor, and social media personality. Jacob Cooperman is with us.
Add comedian on top of that.
And he's got a comedy show lined up soon. So he'll give you more details on that by the end of this episode.
Netflix gave me a full hour.
Man, stop playing.
Nah. I'm doing 5 minutes at what's probably going to be like a 6-person venue.
Oh, yeah.
At a bar somewhere.
The best start in the most humbling situation. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So this topic is very free-flowing and stuff of that nature, so I'll get right into it. I'm noticing that a lot of content creators are doing a lot of shock value. And shock value even at the mercy of other people, even at the mercy of deprecating themselves, even at the mercy of their own reputation. If their reputation takes a hit for whatever controversy they get themselves involved in, it's best for content in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. It's almost like these days they become bigger than what their name was the last week, the last day, or the 2 weeks, or the last year. It happens. So with that happening, I do have to ask you, as somebody who is in the social media content creation game, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like that you have to sacrifice even a little bit of your true personality at times to get something across?
I wouldn't do something if I sacrificed my true personality, but that's just me. Now, have I probably not accelerated growth as much as I potentially could if I was to kind of sacrifice a little bit of myself and become more of a clown than I already am? And we kind of talked about this on the podcast, is like when I do stuff at work, usually when I'm the center of attention is when I'm goofing off, is when I'm clowning around. But then that comes with it a little bit of kind of having like swallow your own dignity. I'm not usually like that. I don't like to operate like that. So anything I put out online, it's going to be my honest take. I'll even sometimes, I've had times where, and primarily what I'm working on right now is sports, mainly Gloves Up. That's the combat sports channel I run. I'll disagree with something I say because I'm just in the moment. You know, when you're kind of on camera, you're flowing. You know, sometimes you have your points, but you're not thinking constantly about what you're just conscious stream. If I disagree with that, I can't continue on with the video. I have to cut that and make a cut that is more true to what I'm feeling. But I also feel like, and I know that when you say like I'm part of the content, like Ev, you're just as much a part of this as I am, I feel like. And you're another guy that doesn't really kind of cut corners and tries to portray something he's not to get ahead. There are certain perks that come with it, though. You know, I think it comes down to a personal thing. Like me, myself, couldn't do it, wouldn't want to do it, because something about the art form just wouldn't feel the same to me. Like it wouldn't, I guess like I have, and this is not saying that the people that do this don't necessarily have any respect for the platform or for the art form of creating videos or being a personality. I feel like I just have too much respect for the weight that my words carry and how I come off. Let's just say if I came out about a fighter I didn't like, and I was like, dude, that guy's a pussy, but I had no real basis for saying that guy was a pussy, then that's patently just false. I mean, that to me, that's morally bad. You know, that's something that it's not morally bad. It's just it's not being true to myself. You know, you could go out on the camera, you could say anything. That's kind of like, it reminds me, and I know I'm going on a little bit of a kind of a run-on thing here, tangent, but it reminds me of the kid. You ever know a kid that like his parents wouldn't let him have any soda when he was younger, and then he gets to college, and he's just like, I could do whatever I want. I could say whatever I want. I think that's how being on camera and being on microphone is for a lot of people. I think they don't really have an outlet in their normal lives to have a voice. Maybe they're a little bit weird, or maybe, you know, for instance, those guys like Neon. Like, Neon's not a guy in real life that anyone's going to take, I think, even remotely seriously. And if you want, like, if that's taken as me trashing him, then I guess that's that, you know. But I just don't, like, if I saw Neon in the street, I'd give him respect, but I'm not, like, if he's like, hey, I want to start a business, with the way he portrays himself, at least on camera, I'm like, all right, well, he's probably not going to make it far. But when you get in front of those guys get in front of a camera, they have the entire world. Nobody has to check them, or they don't have to get checked by anyone. There's nobody to tell them this, that, the third. They have their own world to play with, and I think a lot of people just get intoxicated by that.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I see what you're saying, because I noticed that a lot of people feel like that they have to put on a gimmick, a performance. They have to project. They have to be over the top. You really don't have to be over the top. People, I've said this years ago, and I think to a degree that's still the case. People buy into something about that person that they identify with. If you don't have that, if you don't have that and you just go based on being a character, you're going to lose some of your audience, especially some of your very day one supporters potentially.
And that's where I think it's actually so cool that you brought that point up, because a lot of guys, I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of people discount how subjective it can be for someone to find something they like in you. And that's something I've realized with women. Mm-hmm. Like I used to think that it was based all on looks. You had to have a great six-pack. You had to be the most chiseled guy ever. But I'll get compliments now, and I get the opposite of a compliment. I get roasted sometimes, called medium ugly sometimes. But sometimes I'll get like a girl's like, I really like your nose. I really like the way that you talk. I really like this, that, the third. Right? And for conventionally attractive people, it's going to be like, oh yeah, you look really good. But for most people, and that comes in the social situations as well, not everyone's going to just be this person that everyone's magnified to. But to your point, Ev, there's going to be people that, maybe it's you have a sultry voice and people want to kind of like fall asleep to it, and they'll just listen to you talk as they fall asleep. And then that's your bag, and you can make money off of that. Maybe you're a guy that's really just naturally kind of goofy, and you don't have to try to be funny. You just kind of sit in front of a camera, talk, and the stuff you say is naturally funny. Or, you have this certain thing, this little crevice of your personality that people latch onto. And I feel like a lot of young guys coming into the space right now, and I can say young guys, I've been doing this for 5 years now, they think that the only way to combat the lunacy that's going on with streamers catching pedophiles on camera, doing all this stuff, doing expose videos, doing over-the-top stuff where they're fighting people, is to do that too. But you do not have to. You don't. You don't. I just think it's kind of what's prevalent right now, and a lot of guys, again, that are younger, and girls that are younger, they just see that, and maybe it intimidates them. Maybe I don't really know quite what it could be, but they see that, and they're like, I have to do that. But I don't know. Genuineness always, I feel like, to me, wins in the end.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people look at somebody that made it, and there's a certain grandiose, viral, expose type, controversial way that they made it to the top. People look at that and go, oh, this will work. I need to do that. That's the blueprint. Just because somebody did that doesn't mean that's the blueprint for you to take up. Just because somebody sat over there and that's the way they got to the top, like some people, not dogging nobody, but this is real. Some people have slept their way to the top. People think that's the way to get ahead. That's not necessarily your particular blueprint that you should be doing. Other people have slandered, bashed, hated on, and that was their way to get to the top because it caused so much controversy. That is not necessarily the blueprint that you need to do. Other people want to come off as super perfect, the author of all morals, and whatever needs to happen, I'm the moralist, and because I have good morals, you need to listen to me. Some people come off like that, and they see that as a blueprint, and that even is not necessarily the blueprint that you need to have. The reason why blueprints sometimes, they work out to a degree because they tell you what to do and what not to do. But at the same time, that blueprint was done at a certain time period when stuff was done a certain way in a different era.
Well, yeah, you're not always going to find the same applicable blueprint. One thing I'd say is you start with what makes you happy. Mm-hmm. So I've done a ton of different stuff. I've done podcasts, I've done improv, I've acted, I've done comedy, and I've tried a little bit of everything. And now the stuff that I really like doing sticks, and that's the stuff that does well, right? Like, again, you say it, a lot of people think that there's a certain way to the top and that they have to be boisterous. It's also like following a different blueprint, being very in the moment and very expose-ish with your content. It's also just, you're not going to get a lot of lifespan out of your career. As much as if you were to say, because I like to think about it like this, what are you drawing from when you're a controversial YouTuber? You're drawing from negative attention. When you are yourself, like I could sit here, I could make gloves up videos to the fucking day I die. I could talk about MMA. I could talk about boxing to the day I die. I used to have a channel. I'm thinking about resurrecting it where I just talk about inspirational stuff or like, kind of like helping people out of jams and stuff like that. I could do comedy. I could act till the day I die. And I'd be a happy man no matter if people were watching or not. And another thing is you could fuck around and just become famous. Like I could make a video today where I call out a fighter based off of what I truly think about them, and that could go viral. So that's the biggest thing I'd say is just like be yourself, right? Everyone's got something. If you work at it hard enough, everyone's got something I think that's a part of their personality that makes them unique. And usually that's what draws people over to you. Like I'd say the things that are unique about me is my voice, the way I deliver certain things. But I've only learned that through doing it for so long and getting feedback from people, whether it be positive or negative. Like I know I'm not really making that many comedic MMA videos. The last comedic MMA video I got, it was like 70 dislikes to 20 likes. And I was like, okay, the people have spoken. Either you get better at those, if that's what you really want to do, or you say, okay, I'm going to start doing more breakdown videos because I still like those. And it's still me. But yeah, dude, I just, all these people, Neon, and I've seen all these channels now coming out. And it's all very, to your point about the blueprint, all very cookie cutter. Like all these people, and for those I'm sure that are watching this, you guys know about the Cody Ko situation. For those that don't, Cody Ko is a YouTuber that came out, and it was alleged that when he was 25, he was having sex with a 17-year-old influencer in Tana Mojo, which is monstrous if true, and it's looking like it is. All these channels now, with the exact same box on the top left of the screen, with the exact same reactions, talking about the exact same thing, come flooding down my timeline, and I'm just sitting there like, man, is everyone just playing it safe? Like, at least for me, I'd say, okay, I know what everyone's saying. Sometimes I'll do a video, and then if everyone has said the exact same thing I've said, I just won't put it out because it's been covered. But everyone's saying the exact same thing. Sometimes I'm like, damn, don't you guys take a second to say, all right, well, how can I personalize this to me? How can I put that on camera?
But you know what that is, right? That's chasing the algorithm. This is the popular topic, and I have to chase it now. Otherwise, I'm going to miss out. So let me put out a certain video because, there's 5 other people that have heard this type of news. But when I give it up, I deliver a certain type of way. I need to be in the know like everybody else. So it's almost like
I'm not saying it's bad to be in the know.
It's almost like you're a music artist and you release the same time that a mega artist drops. You hope that some of that trickle down effect, that some people that are actually going to the DSPs, that are actually going to the streams, they're actually going to stumble upon your content.
Right, and I don't think that's necessarily bad, by the way. I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is not because, listen, I run a combat sports channel, so that's a lot of that's going to be news reactions. Talk about John Jones when he had his trial, or I think I don't know if he's being charged with, it's alleged he's being charged with threatening a drug enforcement officer, and he might get a year's worth of jail time. So that was what everyone was talking about. And I felt as though I could weigh in and give my own perspective. What I'm talking about, I have no problem with people jumping on a topic that's hot because that is gaming the algorithm. I don't think you get ahead in YouTube unless you're like super unique without talking about stuff, especially in sports, that other people are talking about. What I'm talking about is when I see, let's use MMA again as an example. Talk about John Jones. If I see 5 videos in a row, and honestly, the MMA content community in the combat sports YouTube community is super good about not doing this. But if I were to see 5 different channels all talking about the same John Jones news in the same way, discussing the same topics and giving the same takes, that's boring to me. I want to be able to go to each YouTuber and have them say, wow, this is a different aspect that I didn't think about because this person has this experience. Or this is a topic from a guy that really hates John Jones. And this is a topic from a guy that really loves John Jones and wants to defend him, And I just don't see a lot of that, especially with the Cody Co situation. I was very, very, and listen, I'm not defending Cody. I think if what he did is true, that makes him a scumbag, right? But if everyone's saying the same exact thing about the situation, what does that do for the situation itself? You know, if everyone's sitting there and grandstanding and saying, how could he do this? What's the difference between that and one person saying it? I guess is what, you know what I mean? Because it started, I don't know if you know the guy D'Angelo Wallace. It all started with him coming out and saying these things about Cody. And then all these other channels came out and guess what? Said the exact same thing that he did, right? I don't know. I just feel like there's a little bit more responsibility that should go with reporting on topics like that and reporting on, because most times, a lot of times, like controversial news now comes with a lot of baggage, and usually it's collateral with other people. So I don't know. To me, it just needs to be treated with more respect. The game, the art of content creation, needs to be treated with a hell of a lot more respect.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand that. I think that one of the reasons why that happens is because I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm gonna grab a water bomb.
No worries. I think that a lot of content creators decide that they are going to, a lot of content creators decide, you know, hey, I want to be a content, let me do that over. I'm gonna wait till you sit down, that way I got something to bounce off of.
Fucking eating up water here. Eating up water like it's my 9 to 5.
So this is the way that I look at it, right? So you have these content creators.
Right.
The problem is that when content creation was a thing and nobody was really making money out of it, the focus was to be different, to be unique, to be original, to come out with your own content for the love of it. It's become so monetized now, and people are fighting, and I hate to say this, people are fighting over peanuts at times because they don't read their paperwork and they don't read the deals they're getting into.
Yeah.
That now it's become, at times, not overall, but at times, toxic in certain areas because heads are not doing the content creation for the fun of it. You're doing it to create a business. You're doing it to monetize. You're doing it for every reason but, hey, I have fun creating. I don't hear nowadays that content creators are doing it for the love of it. They're doing it for the fun. I hear it like hey, I gotta get the bag. I gotta do this brand deal. I have to go after this. This is what I want. Like, I don't really hear that anymore. When I saw content creators came up, there was a sense of originality to their content, which made their content exclusive and better than other people's. It also made people actually buy into who they were as a person, not just what they could provide as a brand.
Well, so here's the thing. It's not disagreeing, but I think there is a little bit more nuance to it, the black and white. I think there are, like, for instance, and I'm having to deal with this because, thank God that I'm having to deal with this. I'm on the cusp of monetizing my channel. The big thing I'm working on right now is getting my watch time up. Because you have to get like 3,000 hours of watch time or 15 million public shorts views. And like, 15 million. Okay. I'm going for the watch time, right? So I'm sitting here being like, a big thing in my brain is telling me, okay, you have to now treat the videos less of like it's a fun thing, right? And more so it's like, okay, well, how do I optimize this? It's because I want to be able to make money off of it because it is something I enjoy, right? So I think there is a spectrum. I say all that to say there is a spectrum. There are the people that love the lifestyle, the money, being able to say that they're a YouTuber. I think that's a really, really attractive thing to a lot of people. And then there are the people that if they never got paid a day in their life off of it, they'd be fine with it. You know, like I could make videos to the day I die, and if I never got a penny off of it, sure, I'd be upset because I want to do it as a career, but I think I'd just end up doing it regardless. And there's people I think that fall more so in the middle, like me, that I don't need like a sports car. I just want enough to be able to, you know, make money so that I can provide for myself while doing what I love. And so I think that there are definitely some people in there, and I think or some people in there like that, and I think it does become sometimes a struggle for sure, being like, okay, what can I make that is fun for people to watch and is fun for me to make And I think I've heard that that's a big thing for a lot of YouTubers. But yes, there are tons of people that just want the money and will do anything for an ad read and go over the top. And man, those people, I'd also argue to say that those people aren't going to really have fruitful careers anyways, because they're chasing the next big thing, and chances are if they like money so much, it's because they like to spend it, they like to have that lifestyle. So I don't know, but I did want to say I think it bears mentioning that there is that kind of gray area in between there.
Do you feel like that there is kind of like, I feel like there's this annoyance. I do feel like that there's this annoyance with content creators now, because I feel like every other content creator uses gaslighting as a tool to get ahead and to get what they want to do.
Yeah, when we were prepping the show, you sent me that, and I was trying to think about what you meant. And what do you mean by gaslighting? Well, I know what gaslighting means, but
yeah.
I'm not sure how it's used in the context of creating. Because I know a lot of watchers or fans have parasocial relationships where they feel like they know the person in front of the camera, and that obviously opens up a dynamic where, sure, you can get the creator being like, buy my Bitcoin, and then everyone goes out and gets it. But is that what you're talking about?
That could be a product of it, but what I'm saying is that I can literally evoke a reaction, the reaction that I need to be happening in front of the camera to pump up views. So, for example, I'm a content creator, but I'm not the content creator that holds the morals and standards that Everett would hold. You're sitting on this couch with me. Let's say I'm interviewing you.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up personal stuff now that I have read or know about you, and I just kind of say it in a slick way or a slick comment to get a reaction out.
So we could set up the celebrity boxing match.
Ding, 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 ding.
Get ready.
Or we can set up, or I'm going to say it, keep saying it, and keep saying it to piss you off, get your reaction of you confronting me on camera, and then now my name is ringing because I got punched in the face. You know what I mean?
Bold of you to assume I'd
hit.
be the one to strike first, but yeah.
Yeah, so let's say I did that.
Bold of you to assume that I wouldn't, once the camera stopped rolling, be like, Ev, can you turn around for me real quick?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So it's like, the way I see it, it's almost like adult high school. It's like I'm going to keep on poking at this person, and I'm going to do it for a long period of time till that person acts out exactly the way I want that person to act out.
Yeah.
And then when it's all said and done,
I got you.
the reaction I'm going to give you.
Right. Or again, and I think I kind of touched on it, but I see now what you're saying more is like you do, once you are in front of the camera, you do have that almost like superpower if you're an influencer to be like, yeah, I can control the narrative. You can control everything. I control, honestly, and this is why I go back to saying, like, if I say something or I see something in the edit that I said that I don't agree with, I'll take it out, because part of me would feel terrible if I wasn't true to who I was on camera, because that's creating an environment where you, the person that these people are tuning in to watch, is an unreliable narrator. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's not a form of gaslighting, but that's up there with gaslighting. Right. Mm-hmm. So, and again, we could have a conversation all night, and that's kind of been the backbone of this podcast, is saying, there aren't a lot of people these days that concern themselves with being upstanding individuals, with being able to look their fans in the face and say, like, the guy that you see on camera, sure, there's not going to be, like, you're not going to know everything about me, but what you see is what you get. If you caught me on the street, and I'll say that once I become famous, lock that in right now, the same Coop that you're seeing right now is the Coop that we'll sit down and have, and you can contest this, Ev, we'll sit down and have dinner with you and talk the same exact way. Mm. I pride myself, and I feel like a lot of people should pride themselves, if they are fortunate enough to have a large platform, should pride themselves off of being upstanding individuals that are reliable narrators and don't necessarily, set something up to where it's like, all right, well, bro, if we box on camera, if we pretend to get pissed at each other on camera, we can generate these views, and we can get a celebrity boxing match going, then we can get this money. Bro, like, to me, that's corny.
Yeah, it's just some sucker stuff. It's like, why are we fabricating? It's one thing if this is like a real vendetta and there's some animosity there, there's actual story there, okay, and you guys actually are boxers in real life, that's one thing. But to fabricate something and make it seem like that there's beef when there really isn't, and it just comes out of nowhere, like, man, come on. That's just at that point it's just watching a Jerry Springer show.
Yeah.
But it's choreographed at Jerry Springer show at this point.
Elite, dude.
Yeah.
So elite. That's why, but also, you could also argue this, is that I know so many YouTubers that will create situations. It's not directly gaslighting because they're not directly faking their content, but they'll create situations. It's the same thing as like reality shows. They'll make a mixing pot of aggressions and these micro things to get everyone riled up to make great content. I'll go ahead and say it. I don't agree with the way they get it, but it is great content. I watched this guy, what's his name? JLE or something, but he does like cheating test videos with girlfriends. I don't know if you've ever seen those. Super entertaining, but it is kind of manufactured in a way to where you're putting this person in a scenario where, yeah, their honest side is coming out, or an honest part of them is coming out, but you're also setting them up to be there in a non-honest way. So again, I think it comes back to it's a spectrum, right? There's different ways that you can kind of go about making content, and maybe with some people, being your genuine self, when you first start doesn't get you really far, and they saw that and they're like, all right, well, I'm not trying to put in the work that it takes over 2 or 3 years to get to a point where people just want to listen to my genuine self, working on being a better orator, a better speaker, being more comfortable in camera. I'm just going to go ahead and fake a boxer beef,
Yeah, but either that or it's like I'm going to purposely piss people off. Like I've seen a couple of content creators literally will go into an area like the hood or something like that. And
dude,
do
nerd in the
stuff
hood?
to antagonize
Those are classics.
people in the hood. Like there's stuff that they know is going to rile them up.
Yeah.
Whether it's throwing up fake gang signs, whatever it is.
Yeah, those videos are so stupid.
I'm like, you will get a gun pulled out on you. Are you nuts? Like you don't understand where you at?
I don't think it really sinks into them until they're there.
It don't sink into them until they get hit. That's when it'll sink in. Their face will sink in if they're careful.
Get caved in by a fist is
Right.
crazy, or a pistol. Get pistol whipped or something.
Right.
I don't know. See, that's the thing is like, I will shoot YouTube a little bit of bail in that I think we as an audience collectively on YouTube, I think a lot of people are past that. Like I think the new thing now, it used to be those prank videos. That was back circa, and I'm not trying to call you washed, Dev, by any means. Or maybe if we want to get this 1 million views, we could just like pretend.
Yeah,
like,
ain't
reload
that,
the camera.
ain't that something?
I could call you washed.
Yeah.
But I think that was more back in like that 2016, 2017, maybe even 2015 era. Now it's like for some reason IRL streaming and catching predators in stores. Again, it's entertaining because you want to see like the weird kind of creeps that would go to meet up with Joe. But that's the new thing and it's expose videos now. Those are the things that are getting the most traction. For some reason, the 20v1 girl things where they'll have guys come out in front of 20 girls and they have like the balloon pops. Like that's another manufactured situation by definition. Mm-hmm. That's the new stuff that it's just like, bro, just go talk in front of a camera. Like try and do that. I want one of those 20v1 guys to just hold a 5-minute video where they talk about something that they're passionate about. I think there's a lot of fear there for those guys.
Yeah, but it's way more interactive and it requires less of this, like actually talking and putting your actual feelings out there, versus I'm going to pick and I'm going to put these 20 different girls that have this one guy, and if they don't like this one guy coming and popping the balloon, in their mind, I guess with their business model, it is more engaging to have other people go at each other in front of the camera for whatever reason, or they could actually get along. We don't know. That's one of those things. It's no different than sometimes, I'll be honest with you, a lot of this content are now the reality shows that we used to see on cable TV.
Love Island, bro. It's a slap-a-rooney of us. I don't know if you ever watched it. I used to trash it. I watched one episode. I say why people get hooked on this. It's actually pretty entertaining. Right. But it's also, at the end of the day, it's bringing in a bunch of people. I'll never forget, I don't know if it was Love Island or Too Hot to Handle or something, one of those shows, but a buddy of mine's friend from high school or a friend of a friend from high school went on that show, and people said like when she went on there, she just became the fakest person imaginable. Never went back to her hometown, never said hi to any of the people there. Like that's the type of stuff. It's a direct breeding of Hollywood, right? Where I think what's the word I'm looking for? The motto of Hollywood is like entertainment over everything else. Entertainment business. And entertainment sells. It's not always entertaining, like, and again, I think we're pretty entertaining, Ev, but like I'm going to go ahead and say this is not going to be as entertaining, I don't think, as watching a guy get rejected by 20 girls and going off and calling all of them rude names. Just by definition.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to also conflate the fact that, like, I'm not saying that it's like we're more entertaining, or I'm more entertaining when I talk about my combat sports videos than that, and they're just getting more views because they're taking shortcut. No, that stuff's more entertaining. I think it comes down more so to a moral preference, or a preference in how you want to govern yourself, right? Like, do you want to say, okay, I can talk to a camera, I can articulate my thoughts, my feelings, or I'm a talk show host, I guess, on a 20v1 that's like, damn, wow, he got cussed out. All right, let's bring up the next contestant. Like, bro, you know what I mean? Like we're talking about two different things here. And one provides money, one provides, I don't know about fame, really, because, again, that's another conversation you could have. The guys that run the 20v1s, nobody's there watching for them. But it provides money, it provides attention, and that's that. But then this stuff, it might be a little bit more fulfilling, but you might not get as much money. You might not get as much attention. The people that would stick around are the people that enjoy that, and that's because we're being genuine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, there's a place in the ecosystem for everybody, but there's just certain things, like, don't just kind of stay in your lane a bit, because it's one of those situations where if you try to, like, fit in somewhere where you're not supposed to fit in at, you're wasting time. At that point, when it comes to content creation and stuff of that nature, at that point, it's like, what am I doing this for? You can end up getting lost in
the sauce.
Yeah, that and the content that you were meant to create. So it's I've seen this all the time.
You should get in a 20v1 guy on the show. I genuinely want to see what he would have to say.
I mean, I would be open to it, to have a conversation and being like, because I would like to, I
don't think it'd be talking to a wall, but I think it'd be pretty close.
Well, I will say this. I think that the 20v1 videos that I've seen, they kind of give you a window to a degree. I know it's in front of cameras and people like to show off in front of cameras and stuff of that nature. But it does kind of give you a window into how sometimes we still deal with, even with your generation, from my generation to yours, we still deal with superficial people looking at the outside instead of the inside of somebody.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the other thing, too.
I think that if nothing else that we take away from those 20v1 videos, it's that. We can definitely look at that and be like, okay, this is a problem because people are still being so superficial. They pop the balloon before they even get to know the guy, which is nuts to me. In certain cases, take time, get to know the person. Okay, this ain't for you. Okay, then pop the balloon. But on a short form YouTube short, how are you gonna? Could they extend it and make some interesting content out of it to make it more of if they wanted to, they could. But really, people are there for the quick. Hey, is she interested or not? Okay, she popped the balloon, good. Or if it's the reverse and there's 20 guys and there's one girl, and those dudes end up popping the balloon or whatever, saying, no, I ain't interested. It's more interesting because that's considered more short form content in the format there.
Some of that's rage bait, though. Some of that, like, I guarantee that there are guys that are going through a breakup and they'll watch 20v1 girl video where the girl is going to 20 guys. And if there's one that gets all the balloon pops, he's probably sitting there like, that's right. Yeah. Women.
Well, but
they suck.
Well, and then that brings me to another point when we have these.
It's cathartic for some people.
Yeah, when we have these men versus women conversations, I'm going to be honest with you. Have there been times we've talked about those conversations over here? Yes, we have. But now it's gotten to the point that every other podcast wants to be the man hater or woman hater podcast.
Bro, the guys at Fresh and Fit are fucking bums. But
they built a platform off of a very toxic thing, and it worked.
Yeah, no, they built it. No, I'm not. Hey, listen, I'm not saying that they did. I just think they're bums.
Right.
Like outside of their work ethic and outside of the content they make, like, dude, the guy Walter brought home what was it, a stripper or an escort to his family got her pregnant and made her get an abortion, that's bum behavior. Like, and whether he's paying for it or not, that's bum behavior. And, the guy's on Seeking Arrangements. Now, Myron, I don't know much about. Myron, I don't have enough confidence to really speak on. I know he has a book coming out called Women Deserve Less, which definitely an interesting title to go with. But I can say for sure that at the very least, those guys are...
But see, right there, women will get so mad at that,
they'll
create a whole bunch of buzz. No, to the point that they'll tell somebody about what the title is and guarantee you one of her friends will go and pick up that book.
Yeah. No, but that's...
Which is going to make him cash anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the... Not the necessarily the easier way of doing it, because then you could also... I don't know how much hate gets to those guys. Like, are they rock solid or... Big pause. Jesus Christ. That was crazy. No Diddy. That's insane. I got to have one of those, like a podcast, I feel like now. There's not a day that goes by when I don't actually have a pause moment. But, I mean, I don't know how well those guys deal with hate and all that, but I do know that, those guys and all these people now, it's sensationalism, right? Instead of having, there's podcasts that do a better job of it, of having discourse, but like the Fresh and Fit model for a while, I don't know if it's still the same way now, was bringing on 304s onto the show, like the lowest common denominator, women that aren't on those two guys' level of, let's just say, financially or mentally, right, where they can they're primed to have these conversations, and then slam dunking on them, getting them angry, and making that into a viral clip.
But you want to know what the opposite is actually fruitful? Whatever.
What?
So
the whatever podcast?
Whatever is
I was going to say
whatever is that same model.
But it's like, don't they actually have more conversation? I haven't, honestly.
They will bring somebody in that thinks a certain way, and they will actually have an intelligent conversation, try to have an intelligent conversation back and forth with this woman to realize that, hey, you have went above and beyond and you have some errors in your ways where it's like, hey, you may want to think about this or that because you're going down this road. This isn't a good idea. So if anything, they're advising these women of the path they're going down and not necessarily trying to gaslight them.
It's funny because I was going to say the Whatever podcast does a better job at not doing that.
Right.
And I would, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not big on, because I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of back and forth in the first place, man, where it's like, we got to like constantly measure people up to other people. Mm-hmm. I get that people are different, but it's just never been my cup of tea talking about why a man can do a sport better than a woman can. I don't really care what sports women are better at than men, because that's just like people in general are going to be better at it. But right. I do know that there are certain people. It's the same thing in that scene that it is in, let's just say, our scene, which seems like we're kind of like covering current events. Let's just say, let's put ourselves in under that umbrella, where it's like you have the people that will have differing opinions on and go through the work of having maybe uncomfortable conversations, maybe making themselves look bad on camera, airing out their own dirty laundry to make a point. And then you have guys like Fresh and Fit that, like, again, I don't know anything about Myron, but Walter's sitting up there being like, you have to be a high value male. Here's how, here's how you game up women. And then he's on Seeking Arrangements, paying for a woman to hang out with him. And he's also he's lying online about having sex with the same girls that an NBA star did that he met at a party.
You surprised?
Bro, that guy's a goofy. That guy's a fucking goof. I would absolutely. I know if you ever see a guy online, you're like, I know if I saw that guy outside, like he'd be like, like he'd be shivering in his bed. That, like, him and DJ Academics. I feel like if I caught DJ Academics without security, I could put my finger in his chest and he wouldn't do anything about it. I could give him a real push, and he wouldn't. Same thing with what is his name, Walter. What a name too. Walter is just the perfect name for that guy. Goofy ass. So stupid. I can't see. All right, let me not. I'm just hating now. I'm going off on too much of a tangent. He just has like a punchable personality. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look.
Some people might say that about me, honestly.
But here's the thing: you're not supposed to get along with everybody.
No.
And what I'm saying is this, right? Like, there are content creators I refuse to watch. I really don't care about their content. I really don't. Their content doesn't really speak to me. Yeah. It's not necessarily hate. It's just I'm not interested in the content. There are people that listen to this podcast. There are people that say, hey, this content isn't for me. I don't get mad. It's just not my cup of tea. But when you start to do certain things that, in my personal opinion, that goes against certain morals or practices, I can't be in the room with that.
Yeah.
I have to almost doggone near block the content because I don't want to see this come up on my feed.
Yeah.
I have to doggone near mute this content.
When you physically get enraged when you see someone's face.
Right. Well, it's like, what are you doing?
You instantaneously becoming in a worse mood.
Especially if you are at the point where you are detrimental to the entire social media community. Like, you are on that toxic side where it's like, and look, I'm not trying to act like the moral police, but I have to, because the way I was raised, I have to keep certain morals in check.
Yeah.
So when it comes to certain stuff that I see online and when certain stuff of that happens, it's like, and I'm sitting there watching, it's like, what are you teaching people that are younger than Coop? What are you teaching people that are just as old as me?
You know what? You could say that about what I said about, Walter. Is like, I probably shouldn't have said, like, oh, the guy's a clown. Like, a better way to have said that would have been like, I disagree with pretty much everything that he stands for in a huge way. But I don't know. Maybe there's certain good parts to his personality that I don't know about yet.
I think here's the thing with people that go on these women hating rants. Some of them bring up good points about the hypocrisy to a degree of what the opposite sex thinks. I think some women bring up hypocritical things that men do, and they make up good points as well.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. The tone, the inflection, everything about it says, the venomousness in the voice says, I've dealt with something in my past and I haven't gotten over it, and I'm using this as a vehicle.
And now spit flex are hitting the camera because you're screaming so loud.
And now I'm going to use this as a vehicle to spew this because deep down I haven't dealt with what I dealt with behind the scenes.
And that's
I'm
the
not
easier
telling
thing to do.
anybody.
We talked about that
it's
after the breakup I went through. It was like, it would just be easy to be like, all women are like this. Because that's your mind. Your mind, I think, is hardwired to protect yourself. And so if you naturally just make everyone else the problem, then it's like, oh, well, that wasn't me. That was everyone else. That's just all women. Like, it doesn't, I couldn't have done anything wrong in this situation to prompt this behavior. So for instance, I hate to bring it up, and it's, if she sees this, it's all respect, all love. But like, I went through a pretty rough breakup earlier this year. And so one of the big things that I had done was not to try and immediately be like, I hate this girl, she did this, she did that. First thing I tried to do was examine what I did, which was, went on a date in sweatpants like an idiot, was do all these different things where I was like searching for searching for attention when I really shouldn't have been. I looked at all the things that I did even to attract this person. And then I looked at myself, I gave myself a hard look, and I said, I don't like the person that I'm seeing right now that attracted that person, right? Because a lot of the same things I saw in that person that I didn't like after the fact, I was like, damn, I do a lot of that stuff as well. That's a tough conversation to have with yourself. And I don't think, to your point, Ev, that a lot of these people have had those conversations. It's oh, yeah, well, this girl was a whore, whatever, all girls are whores. I can just I can roll with that right now. And so I never have to change my behavior to supplement that, or even to attract a woman, because that's one of the funniest things that these guys bring up. And I don't mean to make it, maybe we change topics a little bit, but these guys, these red pill guys, they say be a high value male. The part that they don't talk a lot about, or something that they talk a lot about but like they don't really follow, is really holding yourself accountable. Because they'll say one of the best, and this is something I know that Fresh and Fit has said, is like, to be a high-value male, you have to have, or like one of their cronies, like Sneeko or one of those douchebags, they're like, you have to have sex with 100 girls to become a high-value man. And it's like, that's not going to teach you shit about
But you want to know
yourself.
what's hypocritical about that? If a woman says the exact same thing,
then she's a bop,
whole whore out here. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is like, dude, you think about that. I think the best way to really attract someone that's going to hold you down, is going to be really great to you, you got to bring the heat. You got to be that great person. I didn't deserve to attract and again, all love and respect to my ex, I didn't attract the right person for me because I wasn't a good person, really. I mean, I was in certain areas, but like when it came to how I viewed sex and relationships, it was a little combination of just not being I want to say it like this, just kind of being immature. You know, not that I never treated anyone disrespectfully. But like I just didn't know enough to be equipped to have a really meaningful relationship. And so when my relationship fell apart, at first I was like, I don't know what went wrong. And the more time I kind of simmered on it, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that right there. Going long distance when she had reluctantly agreed to it, and I kind of checked myself because I'm on camera. Certain stuff like that, like not getting myself into pitfalls, and also just having been a better person in retrospect, looking back and saying, how could I have been better for this person, I think was huge. But I don't think, to your point, a lot of those guys are having those conversations.
Yeah, I feel like current content creators, it's one thing to have something from your life inspire you, but like be careful how you yield that inspiration. Be careful how you harness that inspiration, and also be careful what you do with it, because at the end of the day, you wanted to be a social media influencer. You are influencing people. You have a responsibility to make sure that when people leave after watching your content and they get out here in this world, like y'all are in a way, and I'm not even trying to exaggerate too much when I say this, y'all are now the pastors in the pulpit to a degree, being an influence on a mass amount of people to a degree. I don't think you should follow certain people's religion. However, you guys are the pastors in the pulpit to a degree. You guys are the influencers. You guys are the ones that, you guys are the people that people go on Twitch and Kick and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and you guys are at their attention, at their full-blown attention for however long, 2 hours, 3 hours, 40 minutes, 30 minutes. So that is a high level of responsibility. There is a reason when people go out on these political trails that you will see an influencer or a celebrity or some type of rapper, any type of celebrity in the entertainment space. There's a reason why you see them there, because they have a certain level of influence that when they stand next to this politician, it can potentially garner votes. And so that's something that you have to understand. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not here to turn around and just gaslight a whole bunch of content creators for them to come at me. That's not the point of this conversation. The whole point of this conversation was to recognize that there is an issue, there's an ongoing issue that's going on with gaslighting being used as a tool for content creators to make money. But at what emotional and mental health cost is that doing to you, not only your fan base, but the people that are involved in your content? So that is something to think about, and that is something that we need to think about moving forward, especially not just, in my opinion, social media, but also social media has now become the forefront, the center stage of all types of entertainment and content as we know it. It is not just how it was back in the 90s where it was cable TV and live entertainment. Now social media is now on the forefront and has been on the forefront for the past 15 years.
With that being said, get to the bag. Fuck those kids. Who gives a stupid ass kids watching?
This is gonna be the first and last time Jacob is on this daggone podcast.
They're dumb enough to be watching you. You go ahead and you gaslight them, emotionally just run them through the ringer, and then make them buy a $50 T-shirt.
Oh man, and to the people that are
Bro, stop charging so much for. I know a site. You go on fourthwall.com. Those you can charge people $15 for those, and the print is fine. Make less expensive apparel, unless you got like intricate designs.
Unless you have, I will never understand this. I'm not bashing nobody's hustle, but $100 for basic print T-shirts with basic letters, not even a hard artsy design to make it exclusive.
No.
Y'all just do a basic T-shirt with some white letters on it, or whatever color letters y'all want to do. Y'all don't put no pizzazz. Y'all don't put no design that makes the T-shirt unique.
You gotta make that. You gotta make that for audio.
Y'all don't do something with like there's embroidered badges or something like that. Y'all don't do something where it's like there's different materials inside the shirt that make it exclusive. Y'all just sit around and go get a Lux tee or whatever type of basic Hanes T-shirt and slap a couple big bold letters on there and then charge it for $50 to $60 or $70, even $80. Y'all gotta stop doing that. That's highway robbery. Okay, if you want to charge a T-shirt at that price point, you got to add some type of other material or some type of other design that makes it pop and is worth that type of money.
If I'm paying $80 for a shirt, I want to be able to meet the creator that made that shirt.
Man,
that I watch.
If I'm paying $80 for a shirt, I gotta be able to wear it formal or I can wear it casual. And the material.
That's another consideration for sure. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And the design gotta be super nice. I should be getting multiple compliments.
I should be able to play sports, then go to a brisk in that shirt. I should be able to play a 5-on-5 basketball pickup game and then be able to go to my cousin's wedding in that shirt.
Yeah, you content creators.
Why are you wearing Mr. Beast's shirt? Doesn't matter.
If your merch is nice, this is not directed at you. If you get in your feelings, then you know who I'm talking about. But y'all got to step up on that, man. Seriously, that's highway robbery. You got a bunch of people following you. Like, come on, man. Like, if you got merch, give people the right merch. Well, with that being said, this has been another edition of Audio Airstrike. I'm Everett Hall-McNeill. Jacob, thank you for coming on as always.
Appreciate you, my guy.
We got more episodes coming soon, so just stay right here. We'll keep the episodes coming, all right? Make sure you guys also lock in with us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, as we will be coming out with even more content, all right? You guys take care.